Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'll start by just talking about how excited I am for the season. We're 3 days into camp. It's been a great 3 days. I think there's so much to be excited about in terms of this season. Obviously, the new faces on the floor. We're excited about the offseason we had, not only in terms of bringing Kalia back, but Alyssa and Satu. And then I would say all the rest of the additions, too. Sammy, Kalani, all the way down to our training camp invites. It's a really talented group, really talented camp. And we have roster spots to be won. So it's going to be a competitive camp. It's going to be a fun camp. I think our staff is really, really in a great place, year two, and happy to take your questions, but it's going to be an exciting year.
Hey, Nick, Elioff, goodbye, Sports 360 AZ. Good to see you.
You too.
So you just mentioned new big three, so much energy coming in. When you get to watch it, everything you've built over the offseason on the court during training camp, what's it been like to see it come to fruition and see those three also be the leaders that you're looking for, too?
It's been great. They've played at, we're only 3 days in, but they've played at a really high level, and it's fun to see what they've sort of looked like already in 3 days and to think what can come beyond that. Talked a little bit in terms of at some of their press conferences earlier within the last few months. I think their games all complement each other really, really well. And the good news is they make everyone else around them better. So super excited for what I've seen the last few days, and even more excited for, the compounding interest that we hope to come.
Nick, Hayden Silly with Clutch Points. Like Elioff said, nice to see you again.
Yeah, thanks.
Just curious about when you brought in Alyssa and Satu, and then obviously, Diana retiring, BG going to Atlanta. Did you know, or did you have a sense of sort of whether Diana would retire, BG would leave? Because, you brought in AT and Satu before all of that happened. So I'm just curious if you kind of knew that something like this would happen, or if it was just kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing to sign those two?
I hate to give a vague answer, but it's kind of neither and all of the above. These things don't happen in a vacuum. You also don't have all the information when you go through an off-season. Things are changing constantly by the day. So our goal was to set out and make the best team we could with the information we had. And so I think people tend to think you know everything and everything happens all at once. I can tell you that's not how it happens. Things are changing by the hour, by the day in free agency, and so our goal was to make the best team we could, and we're really happy with what's come of that.
Hey, Nick, Mark McClune, Arizona's Family, 3TV, CBS 5. Good to see you.
You too.
It's with so many new faces for fans this year, kind of getting to know this team. What is your vision for how this team will look and how this team will play?
Obviously, you should ask Nate that. It's his call in terms of sort of style of play, but I envision a team that can play really quickly. I envision a team that can shift up, shift down in terms of positional size. I anticipate us to have the ability to be really aggressive defensively and, like I said, get out and run and space the floor. And we've got players who can pass and players who can play make. We put an emphasis on versatility, pass, dribble, shoot ability, and I think we've been able to accomplish that. So I think you'll see a fluid style of play, one that gets up and down the floor, and one that can really share the ball a lot.
Dana Scott, Nick, it's good to see you again.
You too, Dana.
Arizona Republic. Just wondering about how this offseason you brought in some front court players with, Thomas, of course, Sabali and Kalani from Dallas in that deal. How important was it to bring those players in and pretty much kind of replace what obviously Brittany was, but even though she's a generational talent, it's so hard to do that, and having a model similar to what Thomas had in Connecticut with Brina Jones in the middle and having Thomas there in that base defense.
Yeah, we're not trying to replicate anything anyone else has done, whether it's here in the past or whether it's things that these other players have seen in other teams. We're trying to be our own version of the Phoenix Mercury. But certainly, I would say Alyssa and Satu both play some of the most valuable positions in this game, and that's, size, strength, and skill. They both have those. And so certainly thrilled to have them and have them playing together. I wouldn't say we're trying to replicate anything. We're just trying to chart our own path.
Hey Nick, Brendan Clean, Phoenix New Times. A little bit of a bigger picture question. Kalani's one of the only players in the league under contract next season, and that was a big talking point. You heard a lot from front offices with the uncertainty around the CBA. I'm just curious how you manage that. Obviously, building a roster this season, ideally, you'd probably like to keep a lot of these players around long term, but not knowing whether you for sure can.
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit. I know it's been written about. Like, I think this offseason is going to be one unlike any league has ever faced ever before. It's so unique. And then within that, in a more narrow lens, obviously there aren't very many people that are under contract past this offseason, with Kalani being one of them. So Kalani's a great value add in terms of her ability to play on the floor here and now. That's the ultimate reason we were excited about having her. But certainly there's a contractual element that's really appealing too. I can't say what happens or what doesn't happen in terms of her or any other player, but having somebody who's locked in at a number is valuable.
Nick, Jeff Metcalf, right here.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi. So when the deals were made and you ended up having no picks in the draft, can you just talk about the process of trying to fill out the camp roster, find the kind of players you're looking for to give you the depth you need?
Yeah, our scouting department did a fantastic job. Our front office, Fleur McIntyre, Preston Fawcett, Trinity Elliott, Charlie Turner-Thorne, they've done an amazing job kind of preparing for the draft. And even though we had no picks, we treated it just like we would a draft if we had some. Obviously, there's always the ability to trade into a draft. So we were there, we were locked in. Didn't end up happening, but we got multiple players that we had rated in our top 30 that just happened to go undrafted, and we were able to bring them to camp. So excited about our ability to see those players, and we thought we got some value even though we didn't have any picks.
Hey Nick, right here, it's Aya Abdeen for
Hi,
Ball
Aya.
is Life. How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. So I have a question about Sammy Whitcomb's championship pedigree. The team has spoken highly about her pedigree, especially she won 2 championships with Seattle. Can you talk about Whitcomb's potential to being a difference maker in Phoenix contention for a championship?
Yeah, absolutely. Sammy's been a humongous add for us, and I would say not just on the floor but off the floor. Everything we heard about her leading up to her signing and everything we've seen the past week, the ultimate pro. I mean, she sets the tone from a work ethic perspective. She treats everybody properly, and obviously she's seen what winning takes at the highest level. There's a reason she's still a pro and has had such a long career, and it's the work she puts in off the floor. It's her ability to impact the game during the 40 minutes, and it's the way she treats people. So we're thrilled to have her, and we think that she'll really set a tone from a work ethic perspective and a character perspective.
Hey Nick, Stephen Prejean Garner from PHNX Sports. How you doing?
Hi, Stephen. Great.
Nice to talk with you again. Can you just kind of speak to, as things shift to being more positionless and versatile, how you evaluate talent that will stay aligned with the things that the head coach needs to be as successful as he could be in terms of facilitating a roster?
Yeah, I think versatility, and there's certain skill sets like that hopefully any coach can use. This analogy has been used before, but it's our front office's job to go get the ingredients, and then it's the coaching staff's job to cook the meal. And we just try to get them as many good quality ingredients that they can use. And so you mentioned it, versatility. I think there's certain skill sets. I mentioned pass, dribble, shoot. Like if you have players that can do multiple things and impact the game in multiple ways, I think a coaching staff should be able to find those and utilize those better than people that can only do one thing or only impact the game in one way. So, yeah, they'll do a great job finding ways to utilize these players, because I think they're all versatile, and I think they can all play multiple positions and impact the game in multiple ways.
Nick, Craig Fouie, ABC 15.
Hi, Craig.
Good to see you. Hey, when you're putting together this team and so many new faces this year on the roster, where did chemistry fall into your planning and your scouting and bringing people in, and how long do you expect chemistry to take effect here once they get together?
Yeah, that obviously takes time, and we'll have a new group, and so we'll have to try to speed that up as best we can. But like I said, we're extremely excited about the additions we've made, and we did as much background research as we could in terms of the quality of character we're bringing in, the types of people we're bringing in. We're very confident in that. But there's no denying that takes time, and this is a short season. The W is a very short season, so we're going to try to expedite that. Good news is our coaching staff is they're extremely talented in terms of building an energy in the gym that people want to come to work every day, and I think that matters. And we're lucky to have an ownership group and a front office staff and a business side that gives us the resources to try to promote some of that with this practice facility, eating meals together, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to try to speed that up as best we can, but we just got to go through it and build it, and there's no substitute for time either.
Hi, Nick. David Veenstra, Desert Wave Media. In terms of Elena Pollo and Mercury Musa, when will those players report to training camp, and will they factor into the Mercury's roster this season?
Yeah, so both are still playing overseas, so impossible to know when they'll be done. So that's a little bit of a day-by-day answer. Obviously, we're excited about the talent of both of them, but we wish them the best in terms of their seasons. They're in the playoffs right now, and they're obviously competing as hard as they can to keep playing. And so I'll have an answer for you once they're done playing. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being here.